As some of you may know, this will be our final year for this Arizona Merit, and then next year we possibly have a brand new test. And so we're hoping that we have 2 years reprieve on our letter grade. HB 2403, that's on evaluations. So something just to take note of. And then this is one I thought was particularly important maybe to our district just because we've had issues in the past. And it's HB 2862 on seat time. So something that maybe we want to look at and just be conscious of it being out there. I know we had situations at the high school in regarding to that. So just the seat time and the online versus the virtual. And so something that I just think we need to be aware of. And then SB 1139 or 1139, that one's on the class site fund, and that's opening up some opportunity for some changes. And the class site fund is our 301 and opening up some of those percentages. So right now it's a 40-40-20, and that bill could possibly open up some opportunities, possibly for you, but not so much for the staff. And then the one that is big is the voucher bill, which is the SB 1452, which has a lot of changes coming out into those empowerment scholarship funds. So we're just keeping an eye out on that one, just making sure that we're hoping, that there's not a whole lot of changes with that passing or not passing. Right? Any questions? Okay. Thank you.
Carol, thank you for coming up and for talking to us. What you do is very important to our committee up here and to the city of Lake Havasu. Item number 4 is our consent agenda. Mrs. Stone, do you have something to tell us about that? Do I have a motion to open up discussion?
On the consent agenda?
Yes.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Anybody want to talk on it? Then let's go ahead and get it called.
Kyle Niekerman,
Yes.
Lisa Roman,
Yes.
Eric Moran,
Yes.
Marciana Elliott,
Yes.
John Masden,
Yes. We have nothing under item 5, which is good. And number 6, which is new business, we have some things. Mr. Murray?
Mr. President, members of the board, it is recommended the governing board approve the intergovernmental agreement between Lake Havasu Unified School District and Mojave Community College for spring dual enrollment courses. Approval of this agreement will allow dual enrollment with Mojave Community College and Lake Havasu High School. Dual enrollment provides high school juniors and seniors with not only high school credits, which count toward high school graduation, but with college credits while they are enrolled in high school. High school students will be able to take Mojave Community College courses using MCC curricula and textbooks. Classes will be taught at the high school during the school day by qualified high school instructors who are employed at Lake Havasu High School. Dual enrollment provides free college tuition for high school students who are able to take these classes and makes it possible for a graduating high school senior to have completed at least 1 year's worth of college credit by the end of his or her high school career, thus saving the student both time and money. The agreement has been reviewed and approved by the district's legal counsel as to form, and a copy was sent electronically to the board for your review prior to the meeting. And just to kind of sum it up, the board did approve the IGA back in the fall. This exhibit is just including the spring courses. So fall courses were approved in the fall, and this is to just bring to your attention that Exhibit A is being amended to now include the spring courses as well.
Okay, do I have a motion on that?
I so move that we accept 6-1 as stated.
I second.
I'd like to say that I think this is a great idea, that we as a county have had trouble producing people with college education. And in a lot of the work that I do on the side with Enough Arizona, this is one of the topics that we've been covering a lot of. And I think this is a great idea just simply because this will start people down college education with a good foot and will increase the amount of people that we send to college from Lake Havasu.
I also would like to add some on that. I think this is a flagship program that really needs to be highlighted. This is something that I've worked at when I was a academic chair at Mojave Community College. This is not an easy thing to do. The high school teachers who do this program have to be very qualified. This kind of speaks to our administration, hiring quality teachers who can not only pass the quality checks for teaching here, but also at college. So that is something to kind of be commended with. Also, if you look in the region, we do more of this than pretty much any school in this region. So our students here in Lake Havasu are getting a huge opportunity. This is a huge opportunity, and this is a money opportunity for our citizens here. Our citizens here who have students who do this, I mean, we are talking about initially thousands of dollars of savings, and if they follow through to do what Mr. Miller said and take a year of high school, this could be tens of thousands of dollars of savings for both parents, students, and get them finished earlier, get them out in the job force earlier, which of course gets them to make more money in life. So I am very passionate about this. So I fully endorse. I just wanted to put that on record.
I will actually kick it into a little further discussion and say that I support passage of 6.1 as presented. And the only reason why I put myself out there for that is because I know what the value of this is, and it's not just thousands. It allows people, after we put in core knowledge, and after we've pushed core knowledge now into middle school and into high school, this is going to allow them to come out the other side with even more of an advantage in their personal lives. Can you imagine going into the working service here in Lake Havasu or somewhere around here and having college credits in your back pocket? It's going to do nothing but help kids. We want to put kids first. This is a great way to do it.
It seems like we're ready to vote.
Bertiana Alliar,
Yes.
Bill Niederman,
Yes.
Lisa Roman,
Yes.
Eric Durand,
Yes.
Don Aston,
Absolutely, yes. Jamie, are you ready?
I'm ready. Mine's not that fun. You ready? So, Mr. President and Governing Board, it is recommended that the Governing Board approve the first presentation revisions to policies GCD, professional staff vacations and holidays, GCQEA, retirement of professional support staff members, GDDR, support staff vacation and holidays, and GDQB, resignation of support staff members. We are requesting to update the above personnel policies to ensure consistency in policies dealing with vacation, leave, and post-retirement employment. Currently, policy GDD has a regulation, while GCD does not. GCD has been rewritten in its original language, and a regulation was developed to specify how it would be implemented. GCDR and GDDR limit vacation payout to year-round staff who complete their employment term, give appropriate notice, and are not terminated. An update to GDDR addresses holiday pay for employees who change jobs. A section was added to include exempt classified staff. Changes made to GCQEA addresses the sellback. This is not language or policy used by LHUSD. Policy now clearly states that you may only receive severance and vacation payout one time.
This policy was also updated to state that upon rehire, employees who have done PREO will be paid at 80% of their last year's contract plus any increase, or be placed as a new hire, whichever is greater. This should have minimal impact on the overall budget. Most employees will make more at 80%, which is currently in policy. GDQB strikes a line about vacation payout, which is now addressed in GDDR.
What problems does that solve that we've been seeing in our district?
So a number of problems, although we want to ensure that employees who leave in the middle of the year, that we're not punitive in nature, what we've seen is employees leaving mid-year, year-round employees leaving mid-year, and us paying out quite a bit in vacation payout. When we think about what it takes to train, hire, that cost to the district is pretty high. In addition to changes mid-year, whether it's teaching staff, classified staff, or administrative staff, those changes are really difficult for a school. So this really limits the payout till the end of the school year, which is a much easier time for administration and departments and school sites to plan. It also focuses our dollars, which are limited, on ensuring that we have the most dollars available for staff who's currently working, rather than staff who is leaving us to go work someplace else. The other issue is just clarity for our PREO employees. Again, it's not a large number of employees that were affected by this, but we want to ensure that if a PREO employee comes back, we would be paying them the same amount as if they were a brand new employee walking in the door. This treats both employees equitably. So if that PREO employee who has quite a bit of experience, if they're to walk in any place else, they're treated the same.
I would move that we accept 6.2 as presented.
I second. I support this change. I think that it kind of falls under the umbrella of good fences make good neighbors. And so these are very clear fences that are easy to understand. The more clarity you can give employees about what the expectations are, the better. We have had a couple of situations where there was confusion, and so I think this would clear that up and help people make decisions about, you know, when they have accrued vacation time, what they want to do. Maybe they want to use it instead of storing it up because there are some barriers to getting that payout. So I do support these changes.
And I think that's just a really important thing, is that people use vacation time. It's there for a reason. The jobs that we work are difficult, and really being mindful that that vacation is there so that we can restore and then come back to work.
Kyle Niederman,
Yes.
Lisa Roman,
Yes.
Eric Duran,
Yes.
Archan Ollier,
Yes.
John Manston,
Absolutely yes. Now, Aggie, Walter, it's time for yours.
Thank you. Mr. President, members of the board, it is recommended that the board approve the purchase of contracted occupational therapy with Comp Health medical staffing for the remainder of the 2021 school year, not to exceed $60,000. The district has taken action to recruit qualified therapy-related service staff, but has had difficulty filling these openings. Comp Health Medical Staffing is an approved vendor as part of the SAVE contract under RFP 21. There is a correction, that's 02-25. We are requesting approval of the purchase of contracted occupational therapy services for the 2021 school year with Comp Health Medical Staffing at a rate of not to exceed $70 an hour. The district is obligated to ensure the provision of services for eligible students to receive a free appropriate public education, including the provision of related services as required, and under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. Funds will come from the M&O budget, and this has been reviewed by legal. I do want to clarify that this is actually going to finish the school year and take us into part of our ESY school year for compensatory services, since we've been without a therapist for over a month.
Mrs. Walter, I didn't catch everything that you said on the last part. This will take us through the remainder of this year, and then,
We have what's called extended school year that goes into the month of June. And because we've been without a therapist who resigned at the end of December, we do have services that we're obligated to make up that's called compensatory services. So this will allow us to extend beyond the school year to allow that opportunity to provide those services.
thank you.
Mrs. Walter, by saying occupational therapy, are you talking about how the child is occupied at their house?
Good question. Occupational therapy addresses a couple of areas. Most notably is that fine motor hand coordination, handwriting, but they also help with some of the other areas that are related to feeding, for example, being able to use specialized equipment to help them to address some of that, but it's very much that fine motor. We provide the services in the classroom or in a resource therapy setting, or we do have students who are homebound, and we do provide services for those families where the student is actually at home receiving special education services.
I only ask because I have practical experience with occupational therapy in my own life, and I can tell you that I was able to pass it very easily when I was in my bike accident. And I actually had someone come into my office and asked me if I needed it and tested me to see if I needed it. And when I scored high enough, I didn't need it anymore. So there is a value to this in people's ages as they get to the point where they may want to leave the house, or they may want to be more independent at home. And so I would say that we should approve 6.3 as presented.
I will second that motion.
I'll just add, this kind of really goes into our mission of really helping every student in the district. So that's where, I would really support it as well.
Lisa Roman,
Yes.
Eric Moran,
Yes.
Marciana Alliar,
Yes.
Kyle Niederman,
Yes.
John Maston,
Yes. And next, we get into an area that I actually know a thing or two about. With my computer background, it's my pleasure to introduce you to Jamie, who's going to tell us about Microsoft licensing.
Mr. President and Governing Board, it is recommended the Governing Board approve renewal of Microsoft licensing in an amount not to exceed $55,000 annually for 3 years, and this will be locked pricing. This renewal purchase covers all district-owned devices for licensing, upgrades to Microsoft desktop operation systems, Office 365 subscriptions for all staff and students, Office 2016 Professional Plus, and Windows servers. With this plan, LHUSD currently licenses 3,700 Windows desktop and laptop devices, 50-plus servers, and utilizes online access to Office 365 for 590 of our staff members, as well as students. LHUSD has been able to grow the number of new student devices with enterprise platform management with little or no additional licensing cost by using this volume licensing plan. This purchase is based on Microsoft's academic open value license with pricing provided by Insight Public Sector using the U.S. Communities Cooperative Contract 44006644. This purchase has been reviewed and approved by the Business Department and Legal. Funding will come for the bond's second issuance as outlined in the Citizens for Havasu Schools document titled Allocation of Capital Improvement Expenditures. And then the supervisor for the technology department is here for any technology questions, if anyone has any.
I would move that we accept 6.4 as presented.
I'd second that.
I would also tell you, as much as we may have actually not want to talk about licensing costs and software, this one actually helps the district with 365 more than you would ever think. It's just a great program.
We have really been thankful to have this with unexpectedly this year, as many students and staff have been working at home, in different places. This has really allowed us to ramp up the number of devices we've had and allowed for people to work wherever they need to work right now. And so this has been more important than it's ever been for this year, and I imagine it will be the same moving forward when we're back to normal as well.
Does this allow departments to become more efficient?
Yes, and I'll let Sean, if Sean wants to speak to that, but this has really allowed the technology department, which is a small department, to expand what we need to do very, very quickly, and I'll let him talk about the technical aspects of that.
Hello, there we go.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, actually, we had a need to move to OneDrive to make files accessible from home for all of our staff members. And we were able to do that pretty seamlessly with the tools that we have from Microsoft. Yeah, I don't know, I can't say enough about it. We put it in place, 2 years ago now? 3 years almost, I guess, because we're nearing the end of that contract. But it's done so much for the district from a cost perspective that it's hard to quantify. We went from about 2,300 devices 3 years ago to almost 4,000 devices today. And instead of having to license them sometimes twice, because we may purchase them with a license that's not adequate for the school district, and then have to purchase a new license on top of that, we've now been able to keep them all on the same platform. So we use a lightweight version of Windows, which allows us to keep our hardware standards a little bit lower, so it keeps the cost down for the school district. And we think on a 5 to 10 year horizon. And when we look at that, and we look at this licensing structure, it allows us to move seamlessly between them. We were actually just having a discussion today about spring break and then into the summer, re-imaging all the student computers. And in the old days, we used to have to go out and touch those. So we'd actually physically have to touch them. Today, we have the ability with this platform to roll those changes out through an automated system, which is like night and day. It frees us up to do other things, to focus on things like security and, the keeping of the data and backing up of the data. I mean, all the things that you think about each day. So I apologize, guys. I'm not real good at public speaking, so I'll do the best I can here. But from a technical perspective, this is the most sound way for our district to operate. And it's kept us bulletproof for a long time because with it comes other key pieces like endpoint security from Microsoft, which we layer on top of Malwarebytes and some of the other things that are out there. So yeah, we've done a really good job of making sure that our data is both secure, but we're ready for the future as well. And this is a continuance of that. And by enacting this particular contract, it preserves our pricing for 3 years, so we're isolated against any type of price increases. And I have a feeling that they're coming because Microsoft is continuing to do services as, in this way where you pay as you go. So I apologize, the word's eluding me right now, but yeah, this is probably one of the best tools that we have.
Do we back up the Office 365?
Office 365 is backed up by Microsoft, and it's replicated throughout their environment. So bits and pieces of it are saved in different places. So in the event that there's something catastrophic that happens, and believe it or not, we don't know about it when it happens because it just seamlessly changes over to the next location where the data is being stored.
There are software companies that are out there that will let you keep a local copy on site inside Lake Havasu Unified School District.
We can do that with Microsoft as well. So, and we actually do that today. So the files that were sent over, which were our home drive files into the OneDrive, those are also stored locally on the local systems. The good news is if the local system fails, it's stored in the cloud. We can just bring it right back. Any other questions on that? All right. When you come up, let me know. You guys can feel free to email me or call me or anything too. If you have questions on it. So
I do.
you do? You do periodically, that's right. All right, you guys, thank you.
Thank you.
Gary Coran,
Yes.
Arsen Alliar,
Yes.
Kyle Niederman,
Yes.
Lisa Roman,
Yes.
John Maston,
Yes. Okay, that takes us to the last thing in line 6. Mr. Murray, it's yours.
Mr. President, members of the board, it's recommended the board approve vouchers for January of 2021, as well as student activity funds and auxiliary funds for December of 2020.
I would move that we approve 6.5 as presented.
I second.
Yes.
Kyle Niederman,
Yes.
Lisa Roman,
Yes.
Eric Moran,
Yes.
John Maston,
Yes. And now we come to item 7, which is informational reports. You're first.
So first, I would just like to say today was the grand opening of the Starline playground for kids. So I know they're super excited about being able to actually play on the equipment that they've seen in their playground for quite a while now. So that was one great thing. I also wanted to let everyone know that we did have a parent night via Zoom for the core knowledge curriculum that's being implemented at the elementary level. But I wanted to share with everyone that that is available on our website. If you go under educational services and curriculum, you can go and look through the core knowledge materials that are there. There are several websites where you can download lots of information if you have any other questions. We will probably hold a couple more of those nights as we get more familiar with our planning processes and things that we're putting in place, so teachers are able to share that great information with everyone. And each time I do thank our teachers and our principals and our directors for all the work they're doing during this time, but I also wanted to take some time to acknowledge all of our support staff. So we have a great deal of people who are behind the scenes and keeping us running, and we just appreciate all of their work. Some of them, lots of hours that we never see, but we have our paraprofessionals, our maintenance staff, our bus drivers, custodians, FSPs, our counselors, our computer lab managers, our nurses, all of our AAs who are doing registration right now and getting things going in all of our schools. So I just wanted to thank all those people for all the work they are doing right now.
Any of our directors have reports to give us, informational reports? Board members? I don't see any advisory committees in attendance, so I think I will declare item number 7 done. And then next we have call to the public. Any other call to the public? I will tell you, by the way, that we are absolutely 100% positively under 50 people in the room, so that's good. And then we have communications, which include board suggestions for future agenda items. Anybody want something on the agenda coming up? Do we have any clarifying questions from any press members who may be here? Okay, that gets us down to number 10, which is adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Seconded.
Lisa Roman,
Yes.
Eric Moran,
Yes.
Marciana Alliar,
Yes.
Kyle Niederman,
Yes.
John Maston.
Before I say yes to it, I'm going to remind everybody that Tuesday, March 9th, 2021 at 6 p.m., right back here in this room, we're going to have another board meeting. And yes, we're adjourned.